Hey everybody, hope you're all well. Hope you're enjoying this, what I trust will be a much calmer section. Thanks for, again, all your hard work. Really in the first half of the semester, I know the last couple of weeks have been just crazy, crazy town with your research papers and formative reports. I'll be getting those papers back to you here shortly, the next few days. But truly, thank you for your work. I know it was insanely busy, but I appreciate your work. So these next couple of weeks, you'll be working on what's called an evaluation, also sort of like a report. If you haven't had a chance to look at your third essay, your penultimate paper for the semester, we only have one more after this. That'll be a fun one, let me just tell you. But anyway, this one, your evaluation paper, I haven't had a chance to look at it. It's already posted, essay 3, an evaluation paper, also a review. So you'll be doing either a uh, a film evaluation review or a book evaluation review. All the details there are posted on Blackboard. But I want to just kind of highlight a few things for you, and that is, of course, Chapter 16. Let me just show that to you here. Chapter 16, evaluation. So um, you'll see it starts with an evaluation or a review. In this case, is a film evaluation on the movie called The Lovebirds. There's only one article or evaluation in this chapter. It's a very short chapter, as I'm sure you've seen. Um, but before I actually get into this chapter here or this evaluation, I want to point out a few things. This, as I'm sure you saw, there are 5 key features in evaluations. Um, all very important, but the one thing that you really want to focus on in this one before you just start slapping together a quick movie review or book review is this first one here. This first key feature, a concise description of the subject, and I highlighted here for you, and it is this: evaluate, not summarize. Evaluate, not summarize. That is probably the most common mistake people make when they write evaluations or reviews. Um, they summarize it, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. But essentially, what that means is, say you're watching a film or you're reviewing your favorite film, you just simply explain what the film was about, or explain what the book was about. You know, Harry Potter and whatever was about this, and Harry and Margaret or whatever. You just basically describe the book, you describe the movie, and that's it. That's not what an evaluation is. You want to evaluate it, not summarize it. There's a clear difference, and I'll explain that in a second. Obviously, clearly defined criteria. And I'm not going to go through all these. I'm sure you probably read all this stuff. Um, Knowledgeable discussion about the subject, right? Right. You want to have some details and stuff in here. Fair and balanced assessment. This is also pretty important. You're going to see this too. This usually is in your thesis statement. There's a couple of examples. There's the one here in this chapter, and there's also one that's posted in the essay section. You generally see this right at the beginning of the essay or the article or the evaluation. Um, there's always something good about the book, something good about the movie, but there's also something not so good, right? Um, and you'll see like this, for example. For example, a movie soundtrack may be wonderful, but the plot is not. A movie soundtrack might be great, but the plot is not. Um, uh, Scarface was a fantastic movie, but it might not be appropriate for all ages, right? That kind of thing. There's some good things and there's some bad things. And of course, you're going to support all this stuff with evidence and things like that. So, like with all papers, right, you're going to need all these features or uh, significant issues. All these things are going to be part of your paper. Okay. So I bring this up to you because, I know this paper will probably seem a lot easier than the last one you did. You hear, oh, I'm able to write a book review or a film review. This is going to be really, really super easy. But just remember, you need to apply all these key features to your paper. Okay, really important, especially these two: the evaluation, not summarize, and having a fair and balanced. I hate that term, but you need to have kind of a um, a sort of uh, be fair kind of in your evaluation. All right. So what do I mean by all this? So let me show you here this first example here. So this, as I said earlier, is a film evaluation about the movie The Lovebirds. The Lovebirds. I don't know if you've seen this before. You might want to watch the trailer. Pretty funny movie. Um, interesting movie. So again, by the way, you're going to notice a few things here. I'm going to point out a few things. First of all, in this one, unlike all the other ones we've looked at, there's no helpful little, annotations in here that kind of point out where everything is. So you're gonna have to read this one a little more carefully. But I'll show you some of these things, right? If you just read this, you'll see where those five key features are, right? So as you read this, right, you'll see the actors in here, two of the brightest stars of modern comedy, right? So of course, in the introduction, like all the other introductions, you're going to certainly identify the film, right? The Lovebirds, right? Identify who the actors who are in it, and just kind of give a little bit of background information on the film or on the book or whatever it is you're going to be evaluating. Um, but then you'll also notice here, as I was saying before, right, fair and balanced. You'll probably want to identify maybe a good thing about the story, the film, and maybe something not so good. So here you see this. Um, Though the film story gets convoluted, Ray and Nanjiani are able to salvage the muddy plot with their razor-sharp comedic wit and hilarious chemistry. So there's, some bad things here, but they make up for it with their razor-sharp comedic wit and hilarious comedy. So kind of a fair and balanced assessment there. Okay, but as I said before, you will notice when you read this review, it's not just simply summarizing what this movie was about, right? Anybody can summarize something. I can go to Wikipedia to find out what this movie was about, but an evaluation, I want to know, what makes this movie so great or not so great or whatever. Why, why is this movie interesting? What makes this movie so unique? Is it the sound? Is it the scenery? Is it, is it the comedic value of the movie? What is it that makes this movie so unique? And that's what the review tells you, right? The plot starts out with an air of intrigue, but is soon bogged down with unnecessary complications and loose threads, right? And so you can read through this, all the interesting things that makes this movie so unique. You'll notice she doesn't tell you, well, in the first 15 minutes, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, blah, 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 right? That's summarizing it. You don't want to do that. Similarly, if you were to review a book, you don't want to say, well, in chapter one, this happened, and then in chapter two, this happened, right? Who cares? Anybody can summarize something. We want to know what makes it so interesting. The character development, the scene, maybe the music. Oh, the music's so creepy and suspenseful. The music kept you on the edge of your seat. Um, right? And going on, the final plot twist fails to make sense of the jumble, barely registering as an anticlimactic reveal. In a film full of inventive quips and conversations, the finale is far from the most memorable scene in the film, which deflates a lot of the momentum the story generates. Right? And you see how that sort of um, describes why the film is so interesting, rather than just saying, well, in halfway through the film this happens, and it was kind of interesting, but this explains what makes it so interesting, right? Can you kind of see the difference there? um, Later on she describes the chemistry between the actors, their on-screen connections, um, they all kinds of stuff. Though The Lovebirds isn't necessarily a traditional romantic comedy, the movie makes Leilani and Gibran's breakup more than just a plot point. It's a scene with heartbreaking gravity. The quiet tension that fills the car after another blowout argument adds a sense of realism to their relationship, making it impossible not to root for their reconciliation as they go on to their adventure, and on and on, right? The narrative arc of the film may fail, but the emotional arc is where the film finds its footing. So you get the idea, right? You're evaluating it, not just summarizing, not just basically retelling what happened in the film, but you're just explaining what makes it so good. It's almost like an argument. It's almost like, you know, you're telling your friends, okay, this is why you want to see it, why it kept people on the edge of their seat, or why maybe somebody didn't want to go see it, what would made it so scary or so funny or, made people cry or whatever, right? Right? You get the idea. Okay. So there might be some other things you noticed in here, right? Did you notice, well, do you notice anything maybe that's missing in here? Anything missing? Anything missing? Well, you might have noticed that there's no citations in here. Notice there's no citations in here? Anyone notice that? Perhaps you did. Well, there's a reason for that. Anyone know why there's no citations in here? Anyone know why there's no citations in here? Don't everyone call out at once. Well, let me just tell you, your paper is going to need citations. The reason this one doesn't have any is because of the author. So this review was written by this person named Olivia Mazzucato. Now, we don't know who this person is. Mazzucato provides a brief summary of the plot and the context of release and evaluates the film using clear criteria, plot, chemistry, blah, 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 blah. But we don't know anything about this author. She's probably just some random film reviewer for a newspaper or something like that. We don't know. We don't know. And that's fine. But she's a film reviewer, we'll just kind of say, for the sake of argument for right now, of say a local newspaper or blog site or whatever. Okay, let me show you a few other things here. Our last section we did was chapter 12, right? Reporting information. So remember this fabulous essay, right? This was The Sleepless Nights of a University Student. You'll notice this was written by this person, Renee Tingling. She was a Drexel University student. So she was a college student. So as a college student, you'll remember she had all kinds of citations. Remember all these fun things? She had that one. She had that one. Citations all through the thing. She had a works cited list. But the connection there was she was a college student. Remember this one? Remember that one? Edible Magic. Was this not a cool story talking about how this person wrote a report about why popcorn pops? So interesting, right? This person maybe too much time on her hand, but she wanted to describe why popcorn pops. This person also, she was an MIT student. MIT student. Now, her essay was written in APA style. Nonetheless, she had to document all of her work. So there's citations all throughout her paper, right? College student, going to college. An academic paper, citations all through this thing. Might not look quite like MLA, right? She doesn't have a works cited list. She has what's called a references list, but the same thing, right? Citing all of her sources because she is a college student. If you go down to the next one, this one was written by a guy named John Marcus, but he wrote an online article for Time magazine. Not a college student, right? He's a civilian now. He's no longer in the friendly confines of the college environment. So since he's no longer a college student, he's graduated, you will notice no citations. He can quote all kinds of things, nearly 9 out of 10 freshmen think, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't have to cite anything, right? You notice there's no citation, all these stats, 63,000, blah, 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 no citations anywhere, no works cited list. In fact, in our next paper, we're going to be doing chapter 13, arguing a position. Same thing. College student. Diablo Valley College, Pleasant Hill, California, my favorite Bay Area, right? Citations everywhere. Citations everywhere. Hanks et al. Article, criminal fact sheet. Citations everywhere. Citations, so many citations. Of course, I don't see any citations, but there's citations everywhere. And a works cited list, right? This one, the disability article, right? Wilkes University, MLA style, citing a video, citations. Davis, page 255, citations. Works cited list. You get the idea, right? This last one, I'm going to love this paper, this essay. our blind spot about guns. This is a debate about car safety and gun safety. But this guy writes an article in the New York Times. So as you might imagine, even though there's all kinds of stats, 715,000 Americans die annually, 95%, blah, 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 no citations. Why am I telling you all this? Because even though this person is reviewing a movie and she mentions things from the movie, just like you will, talking about things like, you know, passages in the movie when, say, these two characters um, talk about funny lines or things like that. You are going to need to cite that. You are going to need to cite that. And there's ways to do that. You will see an article, an essay posted um, in your the essay section. In fact, let me get to it here real quick. Let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. It is right here. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. You will see in your evaluative essay section an example evaluation posted. If you click on that, hopefully this will work. You will see a sample essay posted. This was written by a former student on the movie. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because my eyes are terrible. Can I make it bigger? Please tell me I can make it bigger. Oh, this one here. This person wrote an essay, film review on 10 things I hate about you. And you will see where this person cited things from the book, and you will see her citations here, right? Quotes from the movie. So you will definitely need to quote things, right? One last thing, right? So you'll see the citations here, right? All the citations in the movie. So obviously, if you explain things or take things from the movie, like, hey, there was this funny part that really made the movie worth watching or whatever. You're definitely going to have to quote things or passages or scenes, musical scenes, quotes, whatever. Make sure you quote them. One last thing you might have noticed is titles. Titles. Remember, movie titles, book titles are italicized. Book titles, movie titles are italicized. Okay. So please keep that in mind too. Okay. So you'll see all these examples. You will see all these examples posted on Blackboard. The first example on the lovebirds in your chapter 16 is also a good example. Just remember to make sure you cite things. Okay. Again, if you have any questions about any of this, please let me know. Otherwise, good luck. I look forward to seeing. Certainly, these drafts aren't due until next week, but again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Good luck with this one, and I will talk to you all soon.